Okay, so let's have a look at the roller team control panel. First of all, to switch everything on, you need to push the home button here. There's a screensaver that comes up first, and then the home screen. And let's get some lights on first of all. So switches in the bottom left here, push that, and then interior light. Got some lighting on inside now. The outdoor light is the light above the external door. Also on here is water pump, so if you want any water in the kitchen sink or the bathroom at all, including the shower and including the toilet flush, then the water pump needs to be on. Without that you'll get no flow. So if we go back now to the home screen, we can see in the top left resources. This is all about batteries and water. So on the left hand side, the state of your starter battery and your leisure battery. Your starter battery is the engine battery, and leisure battery is used for everything else in the back, like the electric bed and the lighting and the sockets and so on. Now they should both be reading around that sort of level, at least 12.3 volts. The starter battery is charged when the engine is running, just like a car. The engine will also charge the leisure battery, but that's also charged when you hook up. And also there's a solar panel on top of the van which keeps that topped up as well, so you shouldn't have any power issues. On the right hand side, the water, so the top one is telling you the state of your fresh tank, and underneath it is your grey tank, which is the wastewater coming out of your shower and your basins. So these are very crude. It goes 0, 33, 66, 100, and they're very approximate, so don't take them too literally. If you're running at 33, you could be almost empty. So let's just go back into there again. It goes into a home screen after a while. So fill up whenever you can, and also empty the grey tank at every opportunity. So you can empty, I would advise emptying the grey tank regularly, even more regularly than you fill up the fresh tank, simply because the smell from the grey tank coming back up through the drains can be unpleasant. You'll notice, by the way, in the top right there's a plug symbol. That's indicating this van is currently hooked up to electric. So if you hook up and you're not sure if it's working, that's where you find out, that little plug symbol in the top right. Next button along is room climate. So you've got options of heating or ventilating. Now the ventilating will just blow air around the van. I don't recommend using that because it drains the leisure battery. If you need ventilation, just open the windows and the roof hatch. So let's have a look at heating. So this currently says the temperature currently is 11 degrees and I've set it to 22, and you can adjust the temperature simply by pushing the plus and the minus as you require. In the bottom right you'll see it says energy source, so you can run the heating off gas or electric, or indeed both. So we push on that. It's currently working on gas and electric is off. If I want to run it on a hookup, simply push 1800 watts and turn the gas off. Now 1800 watts is the standard selection for a hookup. Some European sites on the continent have a lower voltage. They'll tell you if that's the case, and if they do, then just select 900 watts. It'll be a little bit slower. Now you can run on both at the same time, which will make the van warmer more quickly because gas is faster. Once you get to a comfortable temperature though, turn the gas off so that you're using the hookup and saving your gas. Okay, let's go back again here. So fast simply blows the hot air through the vents more quickly. Yeah, don't usually use that because it drains the leisure battery more. To turn the heating off, just like that. Now you'll notice that when the heating is on, we go back to the home screen, that there's a green bar across the top of the button, and the target temperature is displayed as well. So that's an easy way of knowing if you've left the heating on. Let's have a look at warm water. Push turn on. Now we've got two settings here, either 40 degrees or 60 degrees for a shower. To be honest, most people find 40 degrees is enough for a shower, but if you don't, then just turn it up a little bit from there. You'll see the sort of glowing red thing which happens on the heating as well. That's indicating that it's coming up to temperature. On the right hand side you can see again energy source, either electricity or gas, and again you can run it on both if you want hot water more quickly, but do turn off the gas once you're done. Okay, pushing on the water pump, that's just a shortcut, so you can select the water pump on or off without going back to the home screen. For hot water, of course, you're going to want the water pump on so that the hot water will flow through to your taps. Faster heating will just make it go more quickly if you like. It'll put more voltage through. Again, you can use that for short periods if you need to, but it does drain the leisure battery more. Okay, and then back to the home screen, and we can see again that there's a bar indicator, a green bar showing that the warm water is on and the target temperature. To turn either of them off, we just go up to the turn off button up there, and you can see that it's cleared from the screen here. Notifications will tell you about any errors the van has found, so normally you push on that and it says no notifications. Here's an example error, so we can see the notifications button has a red bar across the top and the number 1, which indicates that it's found one fault. So if we push on that, it'll tell us what the fault is, and it's that there's no operating voltage. In other words, we're not hooked up, or if we are hooked up, there's no supply coming in from the campsite end. So we can push the arrow button here. It'll talk us through the problem and how to solve it. So the first thing it says, ensure that you've got a hookup attached and it's providing power. Remember that plug symbol in the top right. If that's not on the home screen, up there in the top right, there's no plug symbol, then that means that you are not receiving power. So what you do is you go outside and obviously you plug in. If you are receiving power and the plug symbol is showing, then a fuse has blown, and that's what this is talking about. So we can now push OK, and it goes back to this. Now once that problem is solved, then the notification will go back to a normal color and you can see the plug symbol back in the top right, so we've hooked back up. So this is another common error. We can see there's a problem here. We push notifications, it says gas cylinder is empty, or the quick acting valve in the gas supply line is closed. So most likely you've forgotten to turn on the brass tap on top of the Cali gas cylinder, so you go outside and do that. If that's not the case, then it's likely that you run out of gas and need to switch to your reserve bottle. Now we can push the arrow button again here and it talks us through that process and what we need to do. Now, unlike the electricity here, it says declare issue resolved. So once you've turned the gas back on again, or you've connected your spare tank, you need to come into this screen and press declare issue resolved. Unlike the electricity, it won't automatically detect that it does now have gas. Okay, so I've turned the gas on now, push declare issue resolved, then push reset to this error, the home button, give it a few seconds, push OK again, and then when we go to the home button, everything is back to green. When we leave the van, we want to turn everything off, and that's simply done here by turn off. You've got the option of standby or turn off. Just select turn off. Everything will go off except for the fridge, that will remain on. It has its own separate power supply. If you swipe to the right, there'll be some other settings. iNet is to control heating and hot water from your phone. You need to install the Truma app. Settings will change the things like the clock and the brightness and so forth. And depending on options fitted to the van, there might be various other buttons which are greyed out. Now there is a known fault on this system where sometimes all of the other buttons for the options that you haven't got fitted will appear as you swipe right, but greyed out. That will fix itself next time you turn the control panel off and back on again. Your interior light switch of the control panel is turned on. The various individual switches around the van will work. This one is by the door. The left hand one here, that operates the main lighting underneath the front bed in your dining area. The right hand one, that operates the kitchen mood lighting. And then towards the back of the van, next to the fridge, there's another double switch. The left hand one here, that operates these little floor lights you can see here. That's to help you find the bathroom at night time. And then the right hand one, that operates the main lighting at the back of the van. Also at the back of the van you've got individual reading lights up here. Now they have their own little individual switches on, just like that, and there are also USBs built into the side of those. Another double USB socket just here by the dining table, and in the cab of course you've got these, the original factory fitted one, which is USB-C and a USB-A, and also I've given you an additional adapter so you can charge two phones at once. The sat-nav, if you want to connect Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you're going to need a USB cable to go in here. When you're hooked up, the 3-pin sockets will work. There's one here above the kitchen sink, another one above the hob on the left hand side, and there's another one down behind the passenger seat, just under that cap there. And finally there's one hidden under a cap up there in the corner above the TV. To open the fridge, pull the handle towards you. There's a freezer section at the top. If you find that this door doesn't open because it's jammed, just means you've recently opened it. It needs a little time to repressurize, 2 minutes maximum, but usually 30 seconds or so. So don't force it, just give it a few moments. And then in the bottom, you've got a separate drawer which contains the drinks chilling cabinet. You can move that barrier around to hold your drinks upright. You'll see that the oven tray is stored in here because it rattles around less than it does in the oven itself. If there's a blue light in the power button on the left, that means the fridge is on. And if there's nothing in these lights, it means it's happy, it's working successfully. If you wanted to turn the fridge off completely, you just hold down the power button for 3 seconds. To turn it back on again, hold down again for another 3 seconds. This fridge can run from the engine battery when you're driving, or the alternator. It'll run from hookup if you've got electric hookup, and it'll run from gas if you don't have electric hookup. Now it automatically chooses between those 3 power sources, so most of the time you don't have to think about it. But you can tell what it's doing. And the way you do that is pushing this square button, and some symbols come up. The A means it's in automatic mode. It will choose automatically the right power source. The plug means that in this case it's running off the electric hookup. This fades after a second, just push the square button to reactivate. And the lights on the right hand side, that's indicating the temperature of the fridge between 1 light and 5 lights. 5 is the coldest. Cold 5 bars, that will freeze your vegetables potentially, particularly lettuce, so I tend to leave mine on 4 bars. And when the engine is running, you'll see this battery symbol lit up, which means it's running from the engine battery. And finally this one, the flame symbol, means it's running on gas because I've turned the engine off and I don't have electric hookup. If everything's flashing like this, it means that it can't find a power source. So you've turned the engine off, you've arrived at your site, there isn't a hookup. You've turned your gas on, but the fridge is saying it can't operate from the gas for some reason. It's just because during driving the gas has gone back down the pipe and the fridge can't see it. So what you do to resolve that is, first of all, make sure that your gas is switched on. Light a hob which will pull the gas through the system. Just a couple of seconds is fine. And then turn the fridge off and back on again. So hold down the power button 3 seconds, it turns off. Hold down another 3 seconds, turns back on again. And that'll force it to check again, and now it's found the gas. Now if that doesn't work and it's still not selecting gas, it's still flashing at you, then you can set the fridge to manually work off a particular power source. In other words, you take it out of automatic mode. To do that, push the square button. It's currently saying it's running on automatic. Hold the button down for 3 seconds. Push the right hand arrow and you can tell it to work off hookup or engine battery or gas. Most likely you'll be choosing gas. Push the square button again to select. This is also where you can adjust the temperature of the fridge. So to go colder, it's right arrow. To go less cold, it's left arrow. I'm going to leave it on 4. Push again. So this is now operating on gas in manual mode, so the A is missing. And it's working fine now. But we don't want to leave it in manual mode because then when you turn off the gas and leave your campsite, start the engine, it won't automatically switch to engine mode, and that means your fridge will be off. So once we've done this and we're happy it's now working on gas as we want, push that button 3 seconds again, go left, 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 back to automatic mode, push again, happy with the temperature, push again, and now we're back in automatic mode and working off gas. Now the gas hob is just operated by pushing and turning the knob for the hob that you want to operate. Push in to release the gas and then push this sparker button. That lights the gas, and you can then adjust the size of the flame by rotating the knob. Make sure that when you're finished it is fully off in the 12 o'clock position like that. The gas oven also has a grill. To use the grill, turn the knob in the clockwise direction for the flame symbol. Push this in, which releases the gas, and then push the sparker button. After a few seconds, let go of the sparker, but keep the knob held in for 10 seconds or so, and then you can release and it will stay on. And that's the hob, and that is a flame at the top of the oven there. To light the oven, just go the other way, push in to release the gas, sparker again, and then keep this held in for 10 seconds or so. Then you can let go. And the oven flame is at the bottom, at the back there. Obviously you can adjust the temperature to the gas mark that you require. Turn the oven or hob off, rotate to 0, and the flame will go out automatically. To move the television out from the wall, just move this catch to the right. It'll release it so you can swivel it out. And be sure to stow it again after you've been watching television, because if you lower this bed it will hit the television. The television will require the interior light switch on the control panel to be on. That's where it draws its power from. Now the TVs in motorhomes work much the same as a domestic one, except every time you move you have to retune, and you do that through the menu button, which is here. That then brings up this menu, and you want to go to auto tuning, so that's down until auto tuning is selected, and then push OK. It comes up with a list of countries. You now want to go down and across. So the TVs in motorhomes work much the same as they do at home, except that every time you move you've got to retune it. So you do that through the menu button up here. That brings up this menu. You want to go to auto tuning, so down on the rotary and then OK. Now you got a list of countries coming up. You want to go down and it goes straight to UK, then push OK again, and it will now start to tune, and in about 5 minutes it'll leave you on whatever it can find. So once it's tuned in, you can use this button, pop menu, to bring up the channel list, and then up and down as you need. Select the channel that you want and then push exit here to go back to picture mode. Back of the TV there's a DVD slot, just insert there with the label side to the front, and then you want to use the source button, which is up here. There's a DVD slot in the back of the television if you bring any along. Just put them in there and then use the source button here to go down to select DVD and push OK. When you finish watching, don't forget to clip it back into the wall here so that the bed doesn't hit the television when it comes down. To open the windows you need to open these latches. If there's a button on it, that means it's a lock. Just push and undo all three, and then push out the window. It'll hold on its own friction. Bring it back in, just pull, and you'll notice perhaps here that there's a vent setting. So if you put it into that lip there, it means the window's slightly open so you can get a bit of air, but the window's still locked. There's a blackout blind and an insect blind which clip together, and to unclip them just squeeze these together and it releases. And the blackout blind, to move it, squeeze those two together and then you can open it, and there are 3 different positions where it will lock into place. The windows at the back have a slightly different mechanism for clipping the 2 blinds together. To release them you just pull this tab inwards and it will detach like that. The roof hatches can also be opened. Push this button, pull the bar down, then you can slide the bar open into the back position there so it's fully open, or along this rail into these slots to have it partially open. To close, just push the bar back past the button into the lock position. There are blackout blinds and inset blinds on these roof hatches as well. The big window over the cab can be opened as well. Just open the 2 side latches and the 2 top ones. No lock on these, and then just push open. It opens a few inches and you can tighten off that thumb wheel to keep it open. There are also, again, you've got an inset blind, pulls up from the top, and a blackout blind that pulls up from the bottom. Now don't fully close this on hot days because the temperature build up in there can warp the roof hatch, so just leave it a couple of inches open, use the insect blind at the top. Now the main habitation door also has a pull across insect screen. To operate the drop down electric beds, just push the down button until the bed stops moving on its own. This is the back one. This one will tilt downwards slightly at the back, and that will tell you just to nudge the bed up slightly, and then it'll be level. The front bed doesn't do that. Now just hook the ladder where I've marked it on the side of the bed there. If you're worried about falling out, there are these nets that pull out from under the mattress, and all you do is you hook the straps up into these all the way around the bed. The drop-down beds have their own reading light, which you can turn on and off using that button on the right hand side there. And the rear bed also has a draw cross curtain for privacy if required. Now, before winding the bed up, take off your pillows because there isn't enough room for them there, but your sheet and your duvet can stay on, and then hook your ladder over the edge of the mattress so that the protruding bits there are sitting over the edge of the mattress, and it's sitting flush like that. And then push the up button and the bed will stop moving on its own when it gets near the top. The big sofas can be made up into a Super King bed as well if needed. I won't cover that here, but there is an instruction card on board to show you how to do that. The front seats can be moved backwards and forwards using the bar on the front of the seat. On the side here you'll find a paddle. When you pull that, it'll release the seat so that it can be rotated. I might hear the steering wheel there. When it does hit the steering wheel, just use the backwards and forwards bar, which remains with the seat, to move the seat further backwards and clear the steering wheel. The armrests on the side here, the height at which they stop can be adjusted using this ratchet wheel. Dining table behind you, once those seats are turned, you can move it out of the way, and there is a handle under here which you grab. That then enables you to move the table outwards and forwards. To use the toilet, first of all you can swivel the whole pan like that so you can get your legs comfortable. It doesn't lock into place, it just moves freely. And to use it you need to open the lid, and you'll see in the bottom there that there's a valve which is closed, a plastic valve. To open that, you pull this lever on the front to the right hand side like that. That opens the valve in the bottom of the toilet. That's closed and that's open. You can now do your natural processes. Now, toilet paper can go down here, and that's located in this little drum in the bathroom. However, wipes can't, so if you use wipes to clean the toilet, they need to go into a bin separately. Now, once you're done, you can use the flush button. So as long as the water pump is on, when you push this, it'll flush fresh water around the bowl just for as long as you push that button. When you're done, don't forget to close the valve again. That's really important to stop smells coming up. And then you can just close the lid and put it back into its original position. To use the shower, first of all, remove the duck board. That just lifts out of place and will need to be stored outside the bathroom. And then to put it into shower mode, at the back of the tap here, there's a button. Push that button and then gently pull the basin forwards, and the whole wall will move and then engage magnetically onto that wall over there. So now you've got the full use of the shower space. To operate the water, you just pull this handle outwards just like a domestic one, and to adjust the temperature you go clockwise or anti-clockwise. There is a shower curtain up here to draw across so that any towel hanging on your door here doesn't get wet. Ventilation is key in motorhome bathrooms, so when you're showering I do recommend, if it's not raining, that you have the roof hatch open. If it is raining, you've also got the option of opening the little window here and drawing up the blackout blind nearly to the top so that you've got privacy. To start the engine, turn on the ignition. Wait till all of these lights have gone out before starting. There is an immobiliser fitted to this vehicle. We'll take you through how to use that when you pick up the van. But if you start the engine and it immediately cuts out, it's because the immobiliser is still active. On the right hand side here you've got adjustment for the headlamp levelling. The middle one there is your rear fog lamps, and the little P button is to turn off the parking sensors, although we don't recommend doing that. The right hand stalk is your wipers, fairly standard. Left hand stalk are your lights, which are not automatic, so you have to rotate like this in order to turn them on. On the door you'll find the electric mirror control. There are two arrows on each side. The top one there will operate the main large mirror, and then if you rotate to the next arrow, that will allow you to operate the blind spot mirror, and you've got the same thing on the passenger side. Fan speed is this one, temperature is that one, air conditioning on off here, where you want the air to blow is that one, and then recirculate is this knob here. On stereo, this button at the top left will give you access to the home screen, including Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, digital radio, FM radio, Bluetooth and phone. And if you swipe sideways, it'll give you a further menu including the settings and also camera view. Push on that, it'll make it switch into the rear view camera mode. This is the one that acts like a rear view mirror because you can't see a lot out of the actual mirror. So I tend to keep that on all the time when I'm driving so I can see what's going on behind me. You can switch manually to the reversing camera by pushing this 1, 2 in the bottom right and toggle back again. In the cab there's a little two-way spirit level here as well, so you can use the levelling blocks to bring the van up to level if you're on a slope. There's a label to give you the vehicle dimensions along with our contact number and the RAC breakdown number. To draw up the blinds at night, first of all fold away the mirror backwards like that and then just pull up the blind. And that locks in place at the top there. The side window blinds are drawn by pulling this tab backwards and then drawing the blind up, making sure it goes behind the plastic housing, and then it clips in at the top like that. The gearbox is automatic. To shift out of park you pull this trigger behind the gear stick and then you can move into reverse, neutral and drive. When you shift into reverse, the reversing camera will come on for you to give you guidance, and there are also parking sensors fitted. When you pull up to a halt, apply the handbrake first, which is down the right hand side of the driver's seat, and then move the vehicle into park. To lock the vehicle, push the Fiat button. The first press locks all the doors including the habitation door, and the second press will set the internal alarm. To unlock all the doors, just push the bottom button there. Now on the same key ring you'll find a black key like this that will operate the various outside cupboards, including your underbed storage cupboard, your gas cupboard, the toilet cassette drawer and the water filling hose, and also this outside storage cupboard underneath. To fill up with diesel, go around to the passenger door, pull the flap open and then use the driver's key, insert into the cap, turn anti-clockwise quarter of a turn and pull out the cap. When you're travelling, the gas has to be turned off by law, and that's simply done in the gas cupboard by turning this brass tap fully clockwise until it's firmly closed. When you arrive where you're going and you open up the gas again, you will need to put it through the system by lighting the hob. This may take a little while, particularly if you've just changed the gas bottle. If you're not hooked up, then the fridge will want to work from gas, but the chances are that during the travel the gas has travelled back down the pipe, and even though you've lit the hob, you may find that all of this display here is flashing at you. That means it can't find the gas. All you do then is to turn this off and turn it back on again, and it'll now find the gas. If you need to change the gas cylinder to the spare, first of all turn the gas off here and then undo this plastic wing nut. It's just a hand nut, so you just turn it, but it's an opposite thread, so to undo it you turn it clockwise, and then you don't need to remove any of the gas bottles themselves because they should be in the right place. Undo the dust cap from the spare by turning again clockwise, and then you want to line up the hand wheel into this one and gently push and turn it anti-clockwise to put it on. It is a very fine thread, so it might take a couple of attempts to do it. Once it's connected, of course, turn your gas back on using the brass tap, go inside, light the hob and restart the fridge. When you're on a campsite with a hookup power, you can plug in to the hookup. That will allow you to run the heating and hot water and fridge on electric. It also charges the leisure battery for you. And finally, it means your 3-pin sockets inside the van will work, so you can then operate hair dryers and toasters, electrical appliances like that. Now you can see on the bottom of the socket there's a little notch just here, and that engages with the hole on the hookup cable. So what you do is you lift this cap through 90 degrees, slide it on there and push until it locks in place. When you're done and you want to detach, you need to push down this black lever here, and that will allow you to release. Do make sure you remember to unhook before driving off, but in the worst case scenario, if you do that, what will happen is this will separate here, so it won't do any huge harm, but you will need some tools and some help to repair this hookup cable. To open the cassette door, you want to use the bigger of the two black keys, turn it clockwise through 90 degrees, and then we're going to push this button and this one at the same time whilst pulling the edge of the door towards you. There we go, that gives you access to the cassette. To remove it, you pull up this blue tab and pull the cassette towards you. Now if you get to about here and it's stuck, it won't come any further. It's because the toilet valve inside the toilet is open. There's a little reminder on the door here that that needs to be closed. And you can pull the cassette out. And there we are. At the black waste point, we want to open up this waste pipe here, unscrew the end cap, put this somewhere safe so it doesn't go missing, and then pour out. Use your right hand holding this handle and your left hand underneath the back here, and pour out through that corner into the drain whilst you're pushing this blue button here. That's a vacuum breaker to make sure that the fluid flows out nice and smoothly. Now once it's empty, we're going to put this cap back on again, and then we need to put some fresh water into this to rinse it out. To do that, pull back the cover here, turn the knob to open the valve, put in a pint or so of water in there. There should be a hose pipe at the black waste point. Close up the valve, slide the cover back over, and then give this a good shake around, including upside down, just to rinse it all out. Then remove that cover and again pour out whilst pushing this button. Repeat that a couple of times to clear out the cassette. In the garage on the driver's side, you'll find the toilet chemicals, the blue chemicals there, and also a bottle of just normal water. And now we open the cassette again, pull the cover back, turn the valve, and then take the cap off this pipe. Fill that cap with the blue chemicals and pour it in to the cassette. And put the cap back on. Next we're going to pour in 3 bottles of water. Once that's done, close up the valve again, slide the cover back over, fold down the waste spout, and now slide your cassette back into the drawer, making sure it clicks firmly. You need to fill the fresh water as often as you can, because you'll get through it quite quickly, especially if you're using the shower. If you have locked it, then you'll just need this black key to unlock. Insert half a turn anti-clockwise, and then the cap twists off like that. Now your hose pipe just goes into a hole like that. If you feel it snag about here, you haven't quite found the entrance to the tank, you just need to wiggle the hose around a bit till you find it, and then it'll go in about a foot or so. Campsite tap will look something like this with a hose lock fitting on it, and your supply pipe is hose lock as well, so you just push that on like that until it clicks, and then turn your water on. Now when you have finished filling, by the way, to detach this you just pull the cover back like that and pull it off. If this adapter is missing from the campsite tap supply, then you will find a spare with your filling pipe. When the tank's full, it'll flow out of the filler like this. Turn the water off and pull the pipe out. Now put the filler back in, making sure that the retaining strap here doesn't get caught. Push in, turn clockwise until it clicks, and now turn the key to lock and close. You might not be able to get close enough to the tap on occasion to fill up. That might be because it's muddy and you're worried about getting stuck. In that event, you've got a bucket and a funnel here, and the idea is that this goes into the water filler. Of course, one person holds up the funnel while the other pours in water. It'll take a good 5 or 6 buckets to fill the tank from empty, but it is better than getting stuck. Below the water filler, underneath the outside locker, you'll find a grey handle. That's to drain your grey water, and to empty it you just pull the handle firmly towards you, and any grey water in there will come out of the outlet underneath there. The grey water is from your shower and your basins. This will smell quite rapidly, especially in hot weather, if you don't empty it regularly, so please do so. Campsites have a drive over grate on the bigger ones, and on smaller sites they'll tell you just to empty it where your van is sitting. If they say that, then just keep it open the whole duration, then you use the water to just flow all the way through. To close the valve again, it's quite difficult to push, so it's best to give it a tap with the side of your hand. Goes in about 2 inches and then it'll be closed. If you're on unlevel ground where you're staying overnight, you can use the levelling blocks. These you just basically drive up to one of these 3 levels, and you might do this on just one front wheel if you're in a dip. You might do it on both front wheels, possibly both back wheels if you're sloping down towards the rear, in which case you reverse onto them. And sometimes your whole van is tilting, let's say, to the left, and then you'd put them under both left wheels. So as you drive up these, obviously your passenger needs to be outside, talking to you through the window and indicating when you're about to go off the front of them, so that you don't do that. There is a level inside the cab, so the driver can see roughly when you're level. And the main reason for using these is to make sure the fridge is approximately level, because otherwise it doesn't work very efficiently. Awning handle. Fold it like that, and then insert it into the hook on the awning, and unwind about 4 feet. Now, standing on the step ladder will allow you to reach the leg, which is just tucked in here under the edge of the awning. Just grab that and pull it out towards you. At the other end of the leg, on the edge of the awning, just pull this out so that the rod comes out of its housing, and the leg will then clear the edge of the awning and drop down. Undo the wing nut so that the leg drops down to the ground. Now angle the leg outwards and tighten the wing nut so that the weight is taken off the awning. And do the same thing at the other end. Wind out the awning further and adjust the legs so that they stay holding the awning weight, and then you can wind out a bit further still. I'm going to install the central support arm. First of all, undo this flywheel so that this is loose, and then slot it into this bracket on the van. And the other end slots into the bracket on the awning to give it support. Adjust the height of the legs as needed by loosening off, adjusting and retightening this flywheel. Once you're happy with the level of the awning, you then want to bang one peg of each leg into the grass to secure them. And once you've wound it halfway in, just fold the legs away by undoing the flywheel, pulling it upwards like this, and tightening back off again. When you're putting the awning away, remember to keep the awning weight supported on these legs. So you pull them inwards like this first, and then wind upwards. Now fold the leg up under the edge of the awning, and at this end just make sure that this is pushed all the way in. Then you can clip the leg in at the other end, repeat for the other leg of course, and then wind it all the way in.